Look at this on the modern map, alluring oldie-worldy lettering. A henge that most people will probably have never heard of. And this is no ordinary henge because everything changed here around about a decade ago. And we'll be revealing these gobsmacking discoveries in this film. And arbitrarily, I have got just 13 minutes to tell this story. 14 if I'm lucky enough to get a sponsor. Now, we absolutely love henges on this channel. So impressive, so enigmatic, and so very Neolithic. And here's one in the stunning Yorkshire Dales that nobody's bothered to put on camera properly. And ultimately, our investigation takes an unexpected turn this week, highlighting the very real dangers of relying on morphology alone. I'm up against the clock to get back for an appointment. Real life intrudes, boring. But despite that, we end up bagging an exceptional prehistoric site in outstanding surroundings. Join me. And the other danger this week is spring has finally sprung here in northern England. So apologies in advance if at any point during this film my hat starts to display Harden-esque characteristics. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Right, let's cleanse your visual palette now with this LiDAR of Castle Dykes Henge. Does that look like a henge to you? Prominent bank, inner ditch. Look at that. Now, I'll bring in this enhanced version here. And I think with this, it's easier to see what we believe is the original single entrance. So if this is a henge, it's a class 1 henge. There is the original entrance. But there are these later breaches there and there. We do the old Google Earth scam so you can see where it is, where it fits into the scheme of the Yorkshire Dales. And there it is. Impressive. Really excited to get there and see it now. And whilst I do that, let's just be honest. You know, there's nothing quirky or West Country eccentric about your hat, Phil. It's just filthy, mate. It's filthy. There's a shot of Stonehenge, the most famous henge of all, lest I get desperate and end up including it in the title and or on the thumbnail. Henges are the classic Neolithic earthwork structure 4,000 to 5,000 years old, an outer bank, an inner ditch, 1 or 2 causewayed entrances, sometimes with a stone circle. So these are the sort of features we would expect to see when we get to Castle Dykes Henge. And chaps, Dykes is not funny, it's 2026, come on. This video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. Now, I think I've mentioned before that it's really important to me that any sponsorships we take on are things that we can absolutely endorse. And with Manta Sleep 1, that's what I call our first ad with Manta Sleep, it was so great to get all these positive comments from our regular viewers saying that it was a really, really good product. So thank you very much for that. Now, you've been struggling with your sleep lately, haven't you?
Yes, but that is partly because you're always shining lights and cameras in my face.
So would you like to try my Manta Sleep sound mask?
So I can connect this to my phone via Bluetooth and listen to some soothing music. And while I look that glamorous sleeping, I really thought this might be quite bulky and uncomfortable, but it's really easy to adjust and you really don't know you've got it on. So the audio option provided by Manta Sleep Sound Mask is absolutely perfect for me, but there are other options available on their website. And what struck me looking at those was what a perfect gift idea they would be. There's a link to the website in the video description where you can use the code WC21 to get a 10% discount.
Don't forget, you need to be back by 2 o'clock, so suggest you drop the normal begging, pleading and grovelling for likes, subscribes, hypes and memberships. Right, whilst I make my way to Castle Dykes, which we're going to endeavour to put on camera sort of thoroughly and properly for what is probably the first time, let's just have a little bit of background about what has been written on it over the years.
It wasn't always a henge. 1854, Barker described it as a Danish encampment. 1897, Harry Spates says Celtic, and that's old money for prehistoric. 1906, Edmund Bogg, Anglo-Danish with Roman relics. 1908, Allcroft surveyed it, and note this on his plan, he's marked a megalith. Late Neolithic, early Bronze Age dating from him. 1948, it was not until 1948 and the arrival of Atkinson, Mr. Pedantic Henge classifier himself, that Castle Dykes picks up henge status, and he includes it in his list of Class 1 henges. And the first take of this voiceover was way too fast because of that 2 p.m. appointment, but then I realised that I was actually doing this in the future.
I've discarded the pork pie for a moment. Things are getting very fill. It is hot. Now, I will show you on the screen a map, effectively illustrating my route from Thornton Rusk up to Castle Dykes Henge. And I've stopped at this point here and attempted to fly the drone over. Very difficult in this light with the tiny screen, the sunlight and my tired eyes. But I think I've managed to get a shot of it from afar. Now, take a note of that. It's not your typical setting, is it, for a henge? It's sort of on this ridge spur, as opposed to, where are they more typically? They are usually alongside rivers, aren't they? Sort of down in the valley. But this one is, as you can see, quite prominently up on this ridge.
So I wrung my hat out and went on my way. Really intrigued by the location of this henge on that spur, and wondering what the very open landscape would have been like at the time that it was constructed. And to clarify, that is wondering in the sense of I will be revealing that information later and you need to keep watching.
And they say all hope is lost in Britain. Look at this. Castle Dykes is on private land. But rather wonderfully, we have a stile. We have permitted access. And next to it, we have this very nice plaque, which absolutely 100% accepts it as a henge, points out that it is the rare Class 1 single entrance type henge. And also, this is quite sophisticated, they have religious purposes as third in the list, with meeting and trading centres coming above that. So it's just a case of hopping over this wall, and then we'll be at Castle Dykes. Anyhow, time is running tight, so I've set an alarm on my phone. I'm going to dart over there, get the footage, and voiceover will have to do the rest of the heavy lifting. Cheers, I needed this. It's very, very hot. By the way, that is 0% alcohol before any of you judge. And I have discarded the hat because it is getting very harding and not appropriate for transmission on a Sunday morning while people like Carol are eating their porridge. I am stood in the centre of Castle Dykes Henge, and it is easy to understand why, since Atkinson's day, it has been classified as a henge. We have that classic outer bank, an inner ditch. We have the single Class 1 henge style causewayed entrance, and I've had a look at that. I would say there is a causeway there. I know that has been challenged. There are 2 further breaches in that outer bank. They are considered to be later. I would agree with that, having had a look at those. But it is in the bank, really, that we start to have our first problems with the henge idea, because it is, what, at best 1.5 metres high. So it is not doing that thing of forcing us to look up at the heavens as we get at Arbor Low or Thornborough Henges, that ritual interpretation of a henge. In fact, we've got a full 360-degree view from up here. Well, this is very nice. Look at this. A short way along the bank from the main original entrance, we have this quite prominent stone. sticking out the side of the bank. And if you go back to Allcroft's plan, he had this. So he imagined that there may be a sort of a series of megaliths, possibly each side of the entrance. Now, I am sorry about having to rush this, but I do have a family, and every now and then they do need me. I hope you'll understand. Anyhow, what I want to do is run up here to do one of my practical demonstrations. I'm hoping that this may illustrate one of the problems with the henge classification here, because the henge is sort of drooping, effectively, flopping over the edge of this ridge. You know, there is no blocking of the view from inside at all. The bank is achieving nothing in that regard. And if the algorithm abandons me within the first 24 hours, as is often the case, I may have to rename the video as the floppy henge, the droopy henge. This henge is drooping. Oh, look, that's interesting. Just outside the structure, another great big buried megalithic stone.
That's the northern breach, possibly relating to later drainage efforts. The ditch at this end appears to have become sort of boggy and marshy. And then that's the southern breach. There are other henges with low banks, not least of all Yarnbury, one of only 2 other Class 1 henges in the Yorkshire Dales. But the way this one droops and provides that expansive view is unusual. No apparent alignments from that entrance either, although in 1908 Griffiths suggested that it did so with Alpha Centauri. It's impressive in this landscape and easy to see how it became a henge following Atkinson's visit in the 1940s.
But then, in 2015, everything changed.
Core samples were taken for dating, geophys, and that other one with magnets that I can't say, and they found...
all across this section, inside the henge, we have pits. Lots of pits.
Plus 2 potential roundhouses with drip trenches. Core sample dates were a real shock. 700 to 400 BC. This was built 2,000 years after the age of the henge. Copulating Ladybird's B-roll. That's better. Spring. Core samples were taken from top and bottom and show with almost 100% certainty that this was not built in the Neolithic or the Bronze Age. A 3rd/4th century AD Roman bead hinted at continuity, and get this, pollen samples showed the landscape to have been largely open, grazed and cropped at the time this was built. A seasonal camp then, with stock-proof hedge on that bank, not dissimilar to a banjo enclosure. The idea that it shows an Iron Age craze for heritage is for the fairies as far as I'm concerned. This is a supremely practical site in an intensively farmed landscape, not the Iron Age equivalent of 20th century Tudor pubs. And due to my skill, we avoided any hat-based unpleasantness.
Bingo. According to this, I've done it 12 minutes, 30 seconds. Not bad. Leaves me with enough time to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back next week with a less rushed alarm video. So I will see you then.